Welcome back, everybody. This week's topic is on culture and customs, and today my guest is Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Hi there, Jenna.
Thank you for agreeing to come today.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Thank you for asking me.
Of course. And so our listeners may have already noticed that your English sounds a little bit different maybe than mine does. Can you tell our community where you are from?
Well, I am actually English, or British, or from the United Kingdom, but being United Kingdom-ish sounds a bit funny. But I am actually from England, and the United Kingdom is made up of 4 different countries: Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England. And I'm pretty clear that I'm English and that's the way I sound.
Okay, nice. So how long did you live in England, and when did you come to America?
Hmm. I lived in England until I was 33, and I came to America in 1993. So I've been here for about 27 and a half years now. So not quite half my life, but most of my adult life, most of my grown-up life.
Yeah. And what made you come to America in the first place?
Well, my husband, John, was offered the opportunity to take a job in America, in Waltham, and I remember this very clearly. He came home one evening, and we had recently moved from Cambridge in England. Britain and the US have lots of city names that are the same, and we had been living in Cambridge, England, and we had moved a bit north to a place called Congleton that no one has ever heard of, but it's quite near Manchester, which maybe some people have heard of. And I thought we were done with moving for a bit. He said, "How would you like to go and live in Cambridge?" And I said, "But we just moved from Cambridge. What do you mean?" And he said, "Cambridge, Massachusetts." And I don't think I spoke to him all evening because our children were very, very young. They were both preschool. We have 2 sons, and I didn't want to move. And eventually we thought it would be too much of an adventure to not do that and see what it was like. We thought we would be here for perhaps 2, maybe 3 years, and then we would go back to England. And we're all still here.
So what would you say your expectations were for America? What do you think that most people in England think or assume about the way that Americans are?
Um, well, I knew that I thought America was a very dangerous place to live. Pretty much everywhere, I thought that there was a very high crime rate, and that yes, it was a scary and dangerous place to be. And I should say that I have lived the whole time that I've been in America in Acton. So I haven't tried any other places. It's just the way it worked out for us. Um, but I was very happy to find that Acton was such a safe place that the realtor who was showing us places we might rent when we first came to live here actually showed us the wrong house. And was able to get in because the door was unlocked. She had made a mistake with the address.
Oh
And
no.
I thought, Oh, it must be a very safe place if people leave their doors unlocked, because I would never do that in England. I would
Mm.
always lock my house up carefully before I left, and I would lock my car up carefully when I went somewhere.
So when you first came to really move to America, did you have any sort of first impressions or what's sometimes called culture shock when the culture is so different that it's shocking to you?
I'm trying to think. Um, Culture shock, maybe not so much, because the language was mostly the same. I think it is very, very difficult to have to be learning a new language, when you don't have many words, you don't know it well. So that was helpful. Um, I did have culture shock a bit in the supermarket, as we call it, and I should say grocery store here, because there was, so even in Acton, which was quite small grocery stores, there seemed to be so many choices, so much stuff on the shelves, and I didn't know what to buy, how to recognize what to buy, because I knew in Britain I would buy uh, washing detergent in a blue packet, and they didn't sell that brand, and I had to try and recognize something that I could buy, and things like margarine. I didn't know what would be a good brand. It took me a very long time to go round the grocery store and figure out what I needed and what would work.
What does it mean to be polite in England versus what does it mean to be polite in America? Do you think there's a difference?
I think people address each other differently. So I was surprised when in stores, cashiers and the guy on the deli counter would call me ma'am, um, because I was not used to being called ma'am at all. That sounded like someone who was much older than
Mm.
I was, certainly then when I was in my 30s. Um, Whereas sometimes in British stores, you might get called love by the person helping you. They give you your change. There you go, love. Um, LOVE, and it's not super polite, but it's just a normal way of addressing somebody in a casual way.
So what does it mean to be rude in England versus what does it mean to be rude here? And do people do that in different ways, do you think?
Sometimes British people aren't very talkative with people that they don't know well. And
Mm.
I think maybe Americans find that off-putting, um, but British people are just more quiet. They're not they they're not terribly. They seem not very friendly, um, but they just don't talk so much,
Mm.
especially to strangers.
Mm. Yeah, depending on where you are in America, if two people are alone for some reason or there's nobody else around for an extended length of time, it's very common for somebody to start a conversation or say something. Whereas in certain other, maybe other parts of the country or in other cultures, it's not necessarily rude to just silently stand near another person who you don't know. So that can be a little different, I think. Are there American traditions that you really like or that you would want to adopt?
Um, well, I do enjoy Thanksgiving. I like the festival that is a bit before Christmas, and it's so much simpler. It's just a meal with family and maybe some neighbors, maybe some friends. It took us a while to get around to having turkey at Thanksgiving. We thought, well, why bother, really? And so we have something else that we all liked that was quicker to cook.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today. So I will say thank you so much, Ruth. And I hope that everybody has some good conversations this week about culture and customs. So thank you so much.
Well,
And until next week, everyone.
well, thank you, Jenna. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah.